Some women will elevate your soul, while others will quietly rip it apart, piece by invisible piece. Not with knives, not with rage, but with confusion, with games, with subtle chaos that drains you without mercy. And here's the brutal truth most men never see coming. By the time you realize she's poison, it's already too late. You're hooked, invested, trapped in her orbit, trying to fix what was never real to begin with. But a man who's disciplined, aware, and trained to see through the mask, he doesn't fall into the trap. He sees the hidden danger before it strikes. In this video, you're going to learn the 8 types of women you must avoid at all costs. Women whose patterns are destructive. Women whose presence will drain your focus, ruin your confidence, and hijack your purpose. If you don't know these signs, you'll waste years in emotional war zones that leave you weaker than when you entered. But if you do, you stay in control. You protect your time, and you protect the man you're becoming. Let's begin. Type number 1, the drama addict. She doesn't walk in with warnings, she walks in with fire. At first, it's thrilling. She's exciting, unpredictable, addictive. Every day feels like a movie until it turns into a nightmare. Why? Because she doesn't want peace, she wants chaos. And if there's none, she'll create it. Small things explode, tiny issues become betrayals, and soon, you're arguing over nothing. This isn't by accident. She needs emotional fireworks, highs and lows that keep her stimulated. And if you're the calm one, she'll provoke until you're not. You begin to shrink, apologize more, walk on eggshells. Your mind fogs, your edge fades. She doesn't want love. She wants the fight, over and over again. Spot her early. Every ex is crazy. Every friend turns into an enemy. Every situation is life or death. She's addicted to drama. And if you stay, you'll become the fix she uses, and then the toy she breaks. Walk before your identity dissolves. Type number 2, the victim. She won't rage, she won't yell, she'll whisper. And that whisper will pull you into a web so subtle you won't realize you're trapped until it's too late. At first, she's fragile, wounded, misunderstood. She tells you stories of betrayals, heartbreaks, and how the world has been cruel to her. And you? You feel like the hero, like you've been chosen to fix what others broke. But this isn't love. It's a trap wrapped in tears. Because she doesn't want healing. She wants sympathy, endless validation, a constant reminder that nothing is ever her fault. And if you try to help, you become the villain. You didn't care enough. You weren't supportive. You failed her like everyone else. You'll drain yourself trying to fill her emptiness. And the more you give, the more she demands. She'll use guilt like a scalpel, cutting your boundaries, slicing your focus, making you feel like self-care is selfish. Watch closely. Every ex, a monster. Every problem, someone else's fault. Every conversation, a therapy session with no end. You think you're rescuing her, but what you're really doing is drowning beside her. Only difference? She's used to the water. You're not. Walk away before you forget how to breathe. Type number 3, the attention seeker. She enters a room, and somehow every eye turns. Not because she's the most beautiful, but because she's mastered the game of visibility. Her presence is loud, even in silence. She knows how to pose, how to laugh, how to tilt her head just enough to trigger interest in every man around her. And at first, you feel lucky, like you've won a prize, because she chose you. But you weren't chosen. You were selected for now, until someone else gives her a stronger hit of attention, because to her, men are not people, they're mirrors. She looks into you only to see how shiny her reflection appears. No matter how much you give, compliments, time, loyalty, it's never enough, because her addiction isn't love, it's validation. She doesn't need connection. She needs a stage. You'll notice, she flirts with waiters in front of you, posts half-naked pictures and says, "It's just for fun," keeps just friends around who all want more, asks if she still looks good, even after you told her 100 times. And the trap is this: she makes you feel insecure, as if your lack of obsession is the problem, as if your masculine calm is neglect, as if you must compete with strangers just to matter. But you're not here to compete with boys begging for her stories. You're not here to worship a woman who can't see beyond her own spotlight. You're here to build, to conquer, to lead. And she's too busy performing to ever follow your lead. So ask yourself, do you want a woman or an audience? Choose wisely. Type number 4, the controlling woman. At first, it feels like love. She checks in often, wants to know where you are, who you're with, how your day went. It feels like care, but soon that care turns into surveillance. That curiosity becomes control. She doesn't ask. She expects. She doesn't want a partner. She wants possession. And if you're not careful, she'll wrap your life in invisible chains. So soft at first, you don't even feel them tighten. You think you're choosing her, but in truth, she's already chosen who you're allowed to be. She starts small. Why didn't you answer? Who is she? You're always too busy for me. Then she escalates. She isolates you. Suddenly your friends are a problem. Your family doesn't understand you. Your hobbies are selfish. She calls it love. But love doesn't need control. It thrives in freedom. And a man who's constantly being managed eventually forgets how to lead. You find yourself walking on a mental leash, asking permission for your own peace. But here's the dark truth. She doesn't want connection. She wants compliance. Not because she's strong, but because deep down she's terrified of losing control. So she locks down your time, your space, your choices, until your life becomes a checklist of her preferences. But what happens when a man trades freedom for approval? He shrinks. He doubts himself. He hesitates. And a hesitant man is not respected. He's managed. So if you ever find yourself explaining your every move, walking on emotional eggshells, or sacrificing your identity just to keep the peace, you're not in a relationship. You're in a cage. Break the lock, or you'll spend your life apologizing for breathing. Type number 5, the high-maintenance princess. She enters your world like a fantasy, dressed in elegance, drenched in allure, every step calculated, every glance designed to captivate. You don't meet her, you witness her. She sparkles, not from the light within, but from the gold she expects you to provide. In the beginning, it feels luxurious. She praises you when you spend, smiles when you provide, touches you when you're generous. But make no mistake, you're not being loved, you're being rented. This isn't a woman building a kingdom with you. This is a queen with no throne, scanning men for the one who'll finance her illusion. She doesn't fall for your values. She falls for your wallet. And when the gifts stop flowing, so does her affection. Love becomes a transaction. Your value measured not by your strength, your honor, or your presence, but by the price tag you can pull from your pocket. This woman doesn't crave connection. She craves luxury. And if you can't keep up, you're replaced by the next bidder. You'll know her when every date feels like a performance. Every compliment is tied to a purchase. Her attention disappears the moment the spending slows. And here's what's lethal. She hides behind the illusion of being high value. But there's nothing high value about conditional affection, because real queens build empires. They don't bleed their kings dry. A man who pours into her emptiness thinking he'll fill it with love will soon realize you can't satisfy a hunger that was never meant to be fed. Withdraw your energy. Withdraw your resources, and you'll see how fast her loyalty vanishes. She's not looking for a partner. She's looking for a lifestyle, and if you give her your crown, she'll wear it while walking away with someone else's throne. Type number 6, the commitment phobe. She feels like a breath of fresh air, wild, free, unattached. She laughs at life, moves like the wind, and wraps you in a spell of spontaneity. No pressure, no demands, just chemistry. But what feels like freedom at first soon becomes a cage of uncertainty. Because this woman, she doesn't fear you. She fears the mirror you hold up, the one that reveals her truth. She doesn't know how to love without an exit plan. She's not here for permanence. She's here for presence, for moments, not futures. She'll kiss you like you're the only man alive, then vanish when the conversation turns real. And you'll wonder, did I do something wrong? Is she unsure? Does she just need time? No, she needs distance. Not because you're too much, but because you're too close. She thrives in the almost. She finds safety in the undefined. And the second you try to anchor her, she slips through your fingers like smoke. You'll know her by her fear of labels. Let's not ruin this with definitions, she says, while never giving you clarity. Her ghosting reflex. One deep talk, gone. A weekend together, silence follows. Her strategic chaos. She keeps things fun but never clear. You'll feel like you're building something, while she's silently scanning the horizon for her next escape. She's not looking to grow roots. She's planting illusions. And if you let yourself fall, you won't just break. You'll dissolve into someone waiting, hoping, begging for a love that was never real. Don't chase closure from someone who runs from their own reflection. Because here's the truth. A woman who fears commitment doesn't fear losing you. She fears losing the version of herself that never had to grow up. Type number 7, the narcissist. She walks in like she owns the air, eyes magnetic, presence undeniable. And for a moment, she makes you feel like you are the chosen one, the one she finally sees, the one worthy of her impossible attention. But this is not admiration. It's the beginning of a performance, one where your role is clear. Applaud her, worship her, and slowly forget you ever mattered. Because the narcissist doesn't fall in love. She collects your attention, your admiration, your soul piece by piece until you're nothing but a reflection of her ego. At first, it feels like a dream. She mirrors your desires, your ambitions, your fire. She's everything you've wanted because she's studied how to be that. But over time, the mask slips, and you begin to see her not as a goddess, but as a vacuum. She doesn't want a partner. She wants a stage. And if you ever try to shine, she dims your light, belittles your success, mocks your pain, because any spotlight on you is a threat to her illusion. You'll catch her rewriting reality, hurting you, then blaming you for bleeding, making you feel guilty for asking to be loved the way she pretended to at first. She's the type who will never apologize. Even when she's wrong, she finds a way to flip the script. You're too sensitive. You made me act this way. Demand praise, but offer none. Your achievements don't exist. Only hers matter. Only hers are real. She will abandon you emotionally. The second your usefulness runs out, you'll stay up nights, wondering how someone so radiant could make you feel so invisible. But that's the point. Her love was never about you. It was always about control. The narcissist feeds off your devotion until your soul is drained and your confidence is fractured. But the moment you stop applauding, she disappears without looking back. So remember this: a woman who demands worship can never love your humanity, only your submission. Cut the strings, walk off her stage, and reclaim the man she tried to rewrite. Type number 8, the feminine chameleon. She enters your life like a dream you didn't know you had. Everything you love, she loves it too. Your goals, she supports them. Your beliefs, she echoes them perfectly. It feels like fate, but what you've actually met is not a soulmate. It's a shapeshifter. She's the feminine chameleon, an emotional illusionist who morphs into the woman you've always imagined. Not because she is that woman, but because she's studied what you crave. She mirrors your deepest desires, your values, your passions, even your wounds, and she uses that information to become irresistible. But it's all a performance, a meticulously rehearsed act, and once she believes you're fully invested, the mask begins to slip. The softness fades. The support turns cold. The agreement turns into resentment. You see, this woman doesn't just adapt. She adopts your identity, and over time she begins to hate you for it. Not because you hurt her, but because in trying to please you, she erased herself. So what does she do? She sabotages. She withdraws. She rewrites the story so you become the villain who never accepted the real her, even though she never showed you who that was. She starts shifting again. New beliefs, new passions, new man, and suddenly, she's someone else's perfect woman. Here's how to spot her before the illusion wraps around you. Her opinions shift depending on who she's around. Today, she's spiritual. Tomorrow, she's a cynic. Not because she evolved, but because someone else entered the room. She mimics speech patterns, hobbies, even emotions, not out of shared joy, but strategic alignment. She rushes intimacy. The faster you feel, this is it, the quicker she feels she has control. This isn't love. This is identity theft wearing lipstick. A woman with no fixed core will drain the strength out of yours. You don't need a mirror. You need a real woman. One who knows herself, not one who rehearses your script. Because when the lights go out and the mask comes off, the only question is, will you still recognize the woman you thought you loved, or realize she was never there at all? You've just seen the patterns they'll never admit, the masks they wear, and the chaos they carry. Now you don't chase women, you decode them. You don't beg for peace, you protect your power. Because the wrong woman will blur your purpose, but the right wisdom will sharpen your edge. Subscribe to the Stoic Architect. Return, reclaim, and remember, the next lesson could save your future.